Hello to all my hair metal friends, and welcome to another episode of the Hair Metal Rules podcast. As you know, my name is Jeremy, and this is the place to talk about hair metal, glam metal, and hard rock. As always, thank you to Tom Tracy of Tom Tracy Music for that awesome guitar ripping opening to the show. I'm joined this episode by my partner in crime, Miss Erica Mae.
Hello, rockers.
On this episode, I thought we would talk about this year's M3 Rock Festival, our trip to the Rockin' Pod Expo in Nashville, Tennessee a few years ago, and some of our past M3 trips. This year's M3 Rockin' Pod Festival was about 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Tonight, actually. Mm-hmm. So tonight, actually, we were in Columbia, Maryland, and we were at the Lake House?
We were at the Lake House, yes. I think I was probably on my third rum and coke.
Third rum and coke, oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And the Lake House is where we went. This year we purchased the VIP.
Yes, the first VIP.
First VIP. And we had to go to the Lake House. You could do it on Friday night and pick up your swag bag.
Yes.
And you got a t-shirt, a poster, some patches, a lanyard. I believe there might have been a button in there.
I think there was a guitar pick too.
Yep, there was an M3 guitar pick in there as well. But the cool thing about the Lake House was there was a bunch of people, that were staying there, plus people that were wanting to meet some of the musicians. And I know while we were there, Aldo Nova kept walking by, but for some reason, Aldo Nova didn't look like he was a very happy guy because he's very grumpy when he walked through the lobby there, and he kept walking up to the concierge desk, and I don't know if they had charged him wrong or something was wrong on his credit card, but he wasn't having no part of talking to many people. And it was just interesting sitting, watching people. And I know there were guys in there that were in bands, but for the life of me, I could not put my finger on it. I kept getting on my phone, looking up the bands that were there and trying to recognize people.
Of course, I was next to him going, "Hey, babe, I think he might be in a band. Hey, babe, I think he might be in a band." You're like, baby, every person that has long hair is not in a band.
I know, right? Just because you got long hair and ripped jeans and, you look like you just stepped out of a Poison video doesn't mean you're in a band. But there were a lot of people in there that were probably in bands. And, my goal when we went to M3 this year was for how long, Erica? It's about 6 months. Mm-hmm. I bought T-shirts from Michaels because my boo-boo over here for Christmas this past year got me a circuit machine. Cricket. But it's written circuit.
It's Cricket.
Okay, but it's a Cricket circuit machine.
Okay.
Okay, whatever. But anyway, I can make, vinyl stickers, and I learned how to make, vinyl iron-ons. So I bought a lot of T-shirts and made Hair Metal Rules T-shirts. And when I had the money, I made a bunch of them up and had them ready to take to M3. I had made my own business cards and made a bunch of vinyl stickers to hand to people. But my goal was to try to just walk up to people and just hand them a card and ask them, would you consider following my Instagram page? This was before we even, the podcast even became a set in stone kind of thing. But I was surprising at how many people, not just there, but at M3, would look at you like you had three heads when you just walked up to them and friendly ask them, "Hey, I got a Instagram page that I put hair metal and glam metal, and I try real hard to post, everyday bands, obscure bands, but it was surprising how rude people were and how not nice they were. Like, you're a loser, you're on Instagram.
But that one guy, he came and sat next to you, and you were kind of side-eyeing him, and I was like, hey, babe, I think that guy's trying to talk to you.
Yeah, what
did he say to you?
He followed me on Instagram and had saw that we were going to be at M3, and of course I had announced on my IG page, where we were at, what section we're in. So he came and sat down beside me. He's like, hey, I follow your Instagram page. I think it's great. Can I have a T-shirt? Well, of course you can have a T-shirt. That's why I brought him. That was a big thrill. And I believe it was on Saturday. Mm-hmm. I got hit up on Instagram message, and he said, he sent me a message and tagged me, and I said, does anybody would like a T-shirt? This is what section we're in. He said he would like to have one, and I asked him where he was. He said, well, I'm 5 rows back from you.
No, he said he took a picture of your T-shirt.
Oh, yeah, right. He said he saw I had a hoodie with...
He wasn't following you.
Right. I had a hoodie with Hair Metal Rules on the back of it, and he saw it and said it was the coolest T-shirt he had seen all weekend long. So he went to my Instagram page to see if there was a place where he could order one.
Right.
And there was no ordering, so he hit me up and asked me, could he get a T-shirt? So he was 5 rows back. So I walked up and gave him a T-shirt, and I posted that on my Instagram page as well. But I tried to put my name out there. No, I'm not nobody famous, but I just, I want people to follow me. I want people to like the page. That was my big brainstorm to try to get followers. Did I get a lot of followers? No, I didn't, but I still met a lot of cool people there, and people that, followed me or started following me, which was a good thing. So, Erica Mae, what bands did you like the most at M3, and why?
I think the best band I liked was Cold Sweat.
Yes.
They really rocked it.
Yes.
Got me out of my chair.
Got you out of your chair, got you jumping up and down.
They really did.
Cold Sweat is one of my favorite bands from the 80s. And I talked about them on the first podcast. It's neat to know, Roy Cathy. We've run into Roy a couple times and talked to him. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, but just being able to, I have his phone number in my phone, and just being able to text him and say, hey, you guys, are you going to have a meet and greet? Or is there any way I can get to you to meet the band? And he always answers me, let me find out and I'll get back with you. And then he sent me a text, we're going to have a meet and greet at such and such time, which I went up there before the bands even started on Saturday, and, stood in line, and didn't stand in line long, but I got to meet, the 5 original members of Cold Sweat. Cold Sweat, they put on a great show. Who else was really, really good? I thought the Last in Line band was excellent. Last in Line has Vivian Campbell from Def Leppard, but Vivian Campbell needs a whole lot more credit than Def Leppard, and I don't understand why he's playing with Def Leppard. If Def Leppard was playing stuff back from High and Dry and On Through the Night and Pyromania, I can see him fitting in there, but this guy played on the We Rock video. He played on the album with Ronnie James Dio. This guy's a beast of a guitarist. But, I guess doesn't really want that much of a limelight. I don't know, but the band Last in Line was really, really good, except for the lead singer complaining the whole time that nobody was standing up. Nobody was yelling and screaming, but
It was cold.
It was 52 degrees.
Two, there's a lot of 50 and 60-year-olds out there.
They have bad hips and bad knees. And,
Right.
when you have a bad hip and a bad knee, the cold gets to it and, you can't move around as good. But irregardless, it was pouring down rain. It was 52 degrees. And most people were trying their best not to freeze to death. Some of my Lynch Mob, I enjoyed watching Lynch Mob, being that was their farewell tour. I've been a fan of Lynch Mob's, forever. And seeing George Lynch for the first time was great because he's always been one of my guitar favorites, from his Docking days, Lynch Mob days.
I like me some Bret Michaels and Every Rose Has Its Thorn, that brought me back to high school years.
Yeah, Bret Michaels.
Lost Loves,
Oh, yes. Bret Michaels was the closing act on Sunday night, and he started out with Talk Dirty to Me, and he played just about every hit Poison song there was. And, of course, Dee Snider came out with him, and Dee Snider sang for about 30 minutes. We're Not Going to Take It.
Right. Well, my friend Megan and I in high school, every time we broke up with boyfriends, we'd always play that Every Rose Has a Thorn.
Yeah, that was every teenage girl's breakup anthem.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the late 80s.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you had to play that.
I'm glad you got to see it firsthand.
Live.
Let's see, who else? I don't have my sheet with me, but who else was there? Dora Pesh is always good.
Yeah,
she always puts on a good show. And Chris Caffrey from Sabotage was filling in as the guitarist. She didn't have Johnny D with her this year. She had a different drummer, but the last time we saw her, Johnny D from Brittany Fox, he's been drumming with her for a long time. I thought Stryper was really good. I'd never seen Stryper before.
They were excellent.
And Michael Sweet and Oz Fox, they put on a great. Those are two great guitarists, and of course Robert Sweet just sits sideways. It's weird. The only drummer I seen other than the drummer for Night Ranger did the same thing. He sat sideways on the stage instead of directly behind the band, but Robert Sweet sat sideways, and of course you see Perry Richardson. He's been in Stryper for a few years now. He used to be in Firehouse. Let's see. Couple of the bands I didn't like as much. I mean, Child's Play played, I think for the simple fact that Child's Play is a local Maryland band, but Child's Play just was never really huge. So they played the one song that anybody knows by Child's Play, but a lot of the music they played was by the original singer for Child's Play, and he looked like he was about 20 years older than the rest of them. So how that worked out back when they were touring, I have no idea. See, Pretty Boy Floyd, of course, Steve Summers, he's the hardest working man I've ever seen in the music business. And I don't say that, I say that admiringly because this guy, he puts stage stuff on and wears it for a little bit and he hands it out to the crowd. He's constantly getting stuff autographed, stuff he's wore on stage. He's an entertainer that is still trying to hold on to the 80s, the Sunset Strip, as hard as he possibly can. And he's got a bunch of young guys playing with him. And he's capturing a whole new audience because these younger guitarists and bass players, drummers are attracting a younger crowd too, a younger following. And that's pretty smart on his part. But he came out there and they weren't quite ready yet. He actually did a whole song for a sound check and wanted to know how it sounded. And once they got started, Leather Boys with Electric Toys, he played just as hard as he could play, and they sounded just as good as ever. Let's see. Who else Who else is? Trying to think off the top of my head who else we saw. We were trying to record everything we could, live recordings. I think that went over pretty well.
We had somebody from Puerto Rico that went live with us.
Puerto Rico that went live.
In Belgium.
Belgium, yes. Yeah. As a matter of fact, the first podcast, somebody from Belgium actually
was going
listen to the podcast, which is that's good.
It's exciting.
The first M3 we went to the first year,
we were in the grass.
We did not have
the money.
We didn't have the money. Well, we didn't have the money this time either, but we went anyway. But anyway, we had lawn seats, and it was 3 days then. It was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And that Friday, I was tickled. I got to see Hurricane. And it was two of the original members of Hurricane. But I've always been a fan of that band, and just hearing them sing the old songs that people want to hear. And we sat
in the grass.
We took us some folding chairs and sat in the grass, and mainly I stood up against the rail. Erica, she was on her phone. She was kind of bored. But anyway.
That was when I was first learning all this stuff.
I know.
I was just learning.
You've come a long way.
I have, because before you'd be like, babe, you know who that is? Nope. Babe, do you know who that is? Nope. Now I'm like, babe, isn't that Roy Cathy from
That's
the
right.
Fifth?
You're doing a lot better.
I'm doing a lot better.
I totally agree with you. But I got to see Bullet Boys, and it was the original lineup of the Bullet Boys. Mark Toreen, Jimmy DeAnda, Mick Sweeta. That was great seeing them actually together again. They come together for a short tour, and the M3 was one of them. But I wanted to see Queensryche pretty bad, but that night, Queensryche was Saturday night, and it started coming up a thunderstorm, and it was raining buckets. So needless to say, we missed out on Queensryche. We saw a set, the German band. They were really, really good. And on Saturday, about halfway through the day, maybe toward nightfall, somebody walked by us and said, "Hey, do you guys want 2 tickets to sit in seats tomorrow, being Sunday?" We're like, yeah. So they gave us the seats, and the seats were pretty good. They were on the side, but they were like 3 rows back from the railing there where everybody stepped down to where the acts came out. And that Sunday, of course, you know me, I got to get there early because I can't miss anything. So we're sitting in our seats, and all of a sudden this guy walks out from where the buses were, and he was carrying a dog. And I told my wife, I said, "That's the lead singer for Faster Pussycat." And sure enough, it was Tommy Down from Faster Pussycat holding his dog. And I was so starstruck, I walked up to him and I said, I didn't have that but my ticket in my hand, and I took a Sharpie with me, but I didn't even take a Sharpie with me that year. Somebody, the guard there had a ballpoint pen, and he signed my ticket, and I actually got Steve Summers to sign a ticket for me too. And I got a picture with Steve Summers because he was selling $20 fireball shots out in the parking lot to get your picture made with him. But the singer for Faster Pussycat was such a nice guy, and he was so gracious, to be standing there with us. And all our M3 festival trips have been good, but one year, the second time we went, it was miserable. It rained, and it was about 45 degrees. It rained all 3 days, and you just about froze to death. I had to go buy. They were selling those hemp blankets you see. They were selling those, and I went and bought one of those and gave to Erica. We tried our best to sit up under it. We brought North Face jackets and everything. We knew it was going to be cold the whole weekend.
It was a good concert, though.
But it was. I got to see Lita Ford that year.
You and your Lita.
Hey.
You know what? I'm sorry, but she does look good for her age.
Yeah, she looks good for her age.
All
leather,
red leather outfit.
Yes. And she put on a great She put on a great show.
And that was when we saw the Burning Witches.
Oh,
they
yes.
Were really
Burning
good.
Witches was the opening act on Saturday.
Yeah, they were good.
And that's heavy.
Yeah, but they were good.
But that's a good heavy.
You know what? I play them sometimes before I go to work, when I just need to get ready to deal
stress reliever.
The patients at work.
Get prepared for what's coming.
Yeah.
Right. It's good stuff.
I have to.
I can't think of everybody we've seen the last 3 years, but it's always a thrill to, oh yeah, we saw Leatherwolf that year. It was really, really cool because that's the year I was right on the aisle, so I could get up and run. Right. And anybody that walked by, I ran up to him and got a picture with him and got their autograph. Saw Heaven's Edge. Got to meet Reggie Wu, the guitar player for Heaven's Edge. Got to meet.
I'm an autograph widow, by the way.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. Got
to meet the drummer for Leatherwolf, the original Leatherwolf drummer. Vane played that year, and the drummer and the guitar player for Vane were standing up at the VIP section in the back of the arena. And I walked by going to the restroom, and they would just happen to be standing there, and they were so nice, because Vane has always been one of my favorite bands. If you want to talk about Sunset Strip and LA, Vane they were some of the top dogs back then, and they were just the nicest guy. He had a fedora on, and the drummer had a fedora on and a jacket with a scarf thrown around his neck. I mean, these guys still love playing the music, but you just see these guys now and you remember what they looked like in Metal Edge magazine and Rip magazine, and they're just average. They're grandpas. They do these tours a couple times a year, and then they just go back to their regular lives, probably gardening and, painting or arts and crafts. I don't know.
Does our fans know that we're grandma and grandpa?
I don't know that they do, but they know now. Yes, and a new one on the way.
And a new one on the way.
That is correct. Well, that's our M3 experiences. The other thing I like to talk about is a few years ago we went to the Rockin' Pod Expo in Nashville. That was a lot of fun. Long trip, but a lot of fun.
Yes.
The first night we got there, we met up with someone Erica knew years ago. And what were their names again? Shawnee and her husband.
Yes. So
we met up with them and we're going to eat with them. And we kind of talked them into going. That was a little pre-concert at a bowling alley that had a stage in the back.
Yeah.
Had a stage in the back.
It was a pretty neat place.
And Steve Blaze from Lillian Axe. We've known Steve Blaze for a few years because, make a long story short, a few years back, we went to Erica's parents' house in New Orleans going to Mardi Gras, and I had been worrying Steve Blaze to death trying to get him to send me his address so I could mail him something to autograph. Well, we walked in and he told me, hit me up when you get down here. Well, we walked in a restaurant the first day we were there, and I walked right past him, and he was sitting in a booth with his family eating supper. So needless to say, when he got up and walked out, I'm like, there's Steve Blaze right there. So I got up and, not looking like a nut, I went outside and I shook his hand. I said, I'm the guy that's been talking to you on Instagram. So we talked, and he said, meet up with me tomorrow and I'll bring you some stuff autographed. So he met us at the Starbucks in Covington and sat down and drank coffee with us, and he had some pictures signed, and it was nice talking to him.
Well, it took a few minutes for my husband to actually talk to him because he was just kind of staring at him for a few minutes. So I asked him a few questions before my husband got warmed
well,
up.
I'm in awe. I'm enamored and in awe of these guys. So it takes me a little bit to, quit stepping over my tongue and find the right words to say. But anyway, we went to that little concert. I'm running out of time here, but we went to that little concert in the bowling alley, and we saw Steve Blaze. And of course, the picture I get with Steve Blaze is him standing there with a big grin on his face with his arm around my wife's hip, smiling, and I'm over there to the side. Half of my face is cut off in the picture. How that happened, I don't know. But anyway, Anthony Corder from Tora Tora was there. Paul Taylor from Winger was there, and they were just putting on a little show. But the Rocket Pod Expo, we walked in there, and lo and behold, who's the first person I see is Ron Keel. And I think, you see a block of ice melt. That's, kind of what I did in the floor. So I want to get his autograph. So I run over to the little table and get it's a cardboard poster of it. Try to see how many people I get to sign it. Well, in the meantime, my wife's over there, and she's over there laughing and giggling with Ron Keel. And that's how I got to talk to Ron Keel. I mean, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure to meet him. I've been a Keel fan for many, many years and met so many great people there. Met Dylan Nova Scott from Vane, and I believe I was more tickled to meet her than anybody there because I followed Vane for a long, long time, and she's just a great, great guitarist. Walking around the place, of course, we saw Steve Blaze and talked to him a little while longer, and I had been talking to Rory Cathy and corresponding through the mail, and also we're walking through there, and all of a sudden I hear somebody like, "Hey, Jeremy." And it's Roy Cathy walked up to me. Hey, Roy Cathy knows my name. I'm a big shot. But anyway, he walked up to me and was just so genuine and so glad to see me. And we talked for a few minutes, and he took me over to the Keel table where Mark Ferrari was there. And of course, Ron Keel was there. So I got to take pictures with all those fellas and got to meet Steve Rachel from Tough. He was a really nice guy. He was selling Shameless albums and Tough albums. Of course, got to meet Anthony Corder again. And there was this guy walking around with big hair and crazy makeup and all. And of course, the lead singer for the Midnight Devils was walking around, and the three of us, me and my wife, got a picture with him. But just good times. We like to go to these things. I'm always on the lookout for who I can meet, who I can take a picture with. It's fun seeing these people that you've idolized since you were a teenager. I think we need to support them more for the fact that they're getting out there. They're still making music. They don't mind singing exactly what you want to hear. And if you can see them, go support them, because their music brings back memories to you. And trust me, shaking a person like that's hand really, really, really puts a smile on your face. Well, Erica Mae, I have enjoyed sitting here with you tonight.
I've enjoyed it too, babe.
I hope to have Miss Erica Mae on more podcasts.
I would enjoy it too.
Future podcasts. I'm doing my best to get Tom Tracy on here and Dr. Starr and try to get some other people, but like I told you, I just want this to be fun and just a trip down a memory lane. So until next time, thank you all again so very much for your support and for following my Instagram page. It means more to me than you could ever know. Do me a favor. Find that one song from the hair metal days, listen to it, and remember all the memories it brings to you. So long, and God bless you all.